What's up, Soul Warriors, and welcome to the Recovery Soul Food Podcast meets Pamela Topjian. Tonight is going to be an amazing conversation. I am so honored to have Pamela here with us tonight. We're going to go over so many things that an hour is absolutely not going to be enough, but we're going to pack as much as we can, as much soul nourishment as possible into this hour slot, and it will not at all be the last time that you see this amazing lady. Pamela is a registered nurse turned hypnotherapist who has learned to heal and thrive through her own complex post-traumatic stress disorder. She has also dealt with the ache and turmoil of being touched by addiction and the disease of addiction. And she is here to share with us some of her amazing experience, the absolute strength that she possesses, and to hopefully help you get a spark of hope in your life. Now, make sure you hang around to the end of this video because Pamela's going to make an amazing offer that you are not going to want to miss. We talk a lot on this program, on this platform, about the importance of getting past the conscious mind, down to the subconscious mind, down to that place that actually drives your soul, that engine that drives your vehicle. And in my recovery journey, I found so many times that every time that I would consciously try to change, I would fail because I was not using necessarily time to retrain or the knowledge to retrain my deeper mind, that deeper mind that was driving most of my behaviors. Let's not say most, let's say 95% of my behaviors, and all of our behaviors and reactions are being driven by that subconscious mind. So you guys go ahead and share this video out. Make sure that you like it. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you hit your bell notification so that you are absolutely notified each time we put a video up. Wherever you are tonight, whether you're on Lona Curry at Facebook.com, Recovery Soul Food Facebook.com, or Recovery Soul Food on YouTube, I just want to thank you for being here. You help me live my dreams. I live for this Saturday night episode. I live to make these beautiful connections in this community. So if you all are ready to meet Pamela, I'm absolutely ready to introduce her. So y'all, let's do this. Oh my gosh. Welcome, 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 Pamela Topjian. I'm so
Yes.
grateful to have you here. Thank you for coming on the Recovery Soul Food
Thank
podcast.
you. Thank you.
And I can't wait to dive into your wisdom. So, we met through our good mutual friend, Tiffany Werner, who is just a rock star of every caliber of rock star. I love her so much. She always introduces me. It's like she has this inner knowing of who is going to jive on this show and who is just going to jive and connect with me. And she has been after me. You got to get with Pam. You got to get with Pam. You got to get with Pam. And I was like, Pam, Pam, Pam. And I kept seeing you, and I was like, you're the Pam. You're the Pam. I'm grateful that we're finally doing this. This is
Yes.
amazing. I'm so grateful for you being here. I don't even really know where to start. You've got so much knowledge that I want to dive into. So let's just start with who you are, how you came to this work, and let's start there. Let us have
Well,
it.
I I came to this work after having, as you said in the intro, CPTSD, childhood trauma, going through a lot in my childhood, and then after two divorces and marriage, with a domestic violence and all of that, and so much in the childhood that we can get back to that. But I came to this after having my own, moment of clarity, or
Ding, ding, ding.
breakthrough, right, right, ding, ding. um, when I was in EMDR therapy, and I was
Mm,
so down low, I was so fearful, so full of anxiety, and so depressed. I could almost not take care of myself,
oh,
and I was just numb. And so in the office, when I realized, oh my gosh, I am going to be okay. I'm going to be able to live. And there's so many people, we all know people that are just in that really dark place, and they have no hope, and they feel like they're alone. And it's just so important for people to know that there are people like you, and that there
oh
is
yeah.
help and there is hope, and you can make it out as long as you're still breathing. It
Oh
doesn't matter how
gosh.
old you are, because I'm in my 50s. It doesn't matter
I'm
how
working
old
on
you
it.
are, right?
It
You
doesn't.
can make it out of there, and people
Yeah.
need to live, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what
Well,
brought me to this. People need to
I'm
know
I,
that.
I'm grateful to hear you say that, because what a powerful message. And again, it's beautiful for all of us to share our experiences, and so much of our purpose really lies in our pain and the things that we go through. Because you're right, there's so many people in a state right now, especially in the midst of our pandemic, and now it just seems to be getting even more confusing with all the
Yes.
vaccine and the news. We are surrounded, blanketed, if you will, with fear tactics and things that keep us in in the pit of anxiety. And I'm sure
Right.
you and I could talk about some of the reasons why and the amounts of money that's made each day from keeping people in that fear. But you're so right. It doesn't matter how old you are or how far you think that you've pushed your life away. If you've
Right.
got breath, you've got an
Hope.
option. There's always another option. Like you said,
Right.
hope. That spark of
And there
hope.
is always another option. That's another thing I want people to know too, because I hear so much that, oh, I tried counseling, it didn't work. I tried this medicine, it
Hmm.
didn't work. I tried that therapy, it didn't work. I tried this, I
Yeah.
tried that, it didn't work. And so they just feel defeated, or they feel hopeless. There's always something else to try. There's always another option. And,
Yeah.
just like you said, people need
Yeah.
to know that there's always another option. There's always hope. So it's just
Absolutely.
so important for people to know that.
Yeah. And to hear, that's what I love about the Me Too movement, and
Yes.
people coming out of the shadows and talking about childhood sexual abuse and adult sexual abuse,
Mhm.
and how, I love to see women coming out of the shadows and really speaking about something that, in all honesty, I mean, we're talking about numbers. One out of every four women that
Yeah.
you meet, has
We know
experienced.
somebody that, yeah, that
We
has
all
been
do.
sexually assaulted or raped or both
Absolutely.
or worse. I mean, we all, if you know three or four women, you know, and
Absolutely.
then you know a few of
Absolutely.
them.
Absolutely. And that is a place that's unacceptable, and I'm grateful that more people, more of us are standing up and talking about that. So let's say a few hellos real quick, because we've got some amazing people here. Of course, we've got our favorite queen in the house, Tiffany Werner, and Joni Faulkner and Janet McClanahan and Sandy Miller's here. Lisa Goldberg's here watching on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much for that. Pam V says, Bradley's still going. Thank you for coming to find me, Pam V. And go over and get them and tell them, okay, cut it off. Get over there to Recovery Soul Food. Livy LaDonna's here. She's an amazing human being. Tammy Oliker. Tammy, I hope I said that right. Also watching from the YouTube channel. Thank you all so much. The amount of beauty, that's the thing that I think healing has really taught me, is how to see the beauty in every human being, every human soul. And you say you're talking about that place of darkness, and how many times we've tried. I remember being desperate back before internet. Let's go ahead and let me date myself. When
Right.
I was desperate for help out of this opioid crisis that I had found myself in. And I remember sitting down with the phone book and just dialing and dialing. And after the fourth, I think it was the fourth no, I hung the phone up. I was so, just even lower inside when you didn't think you could even be. And I felt like there were just no options. And
Yeah.
I went on to experience three fatal overdoses
Mhm.
in the next few years, four near death experiences through accidents and being attacked. I mean, there was not a lower place that I could get. One of the things that I found when I started leaning into healing, which we're going to talk about as far as healing the mind, understanding that my mind was a big part of my perspective and why things weren't working, is things that I had tried then had not worked, not because they weren't good, but because I wasn't in a place where I could even hear hope. And I'd really love to hear your experience about just what it means to be in that place where you're able to hear hope, and if you've got any advice of how people can hear hope.
Well, um, I think that there's been a lot of things that people have said, friends and family, over the time that I was at my lowest. And at the time, I wasn't ready, or I didn't think that they really understood how I felt. And to this day, I don't know if they really did or not. I felt like I was hiding it well. I made
Yeah,
excuses not to go
yeah,
places and whatever. And oh, you lost weight. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to eat how many days,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
and in bed, it's hard to just get up and shower. So, but where I was getting at is later on, people will, you'll think, oh, yeah, I remember when they said that. Now I get it. That was
Mm,
really great, or that was really terrible. You think
yeah.
back, and at the time it didn't really click, but later on that might. So, just want to tell family members or friends or anything to don't feel like your words are wasted if it doesn't click with them. With
Mm,
somebody who, them being somebody who is just down and out, or in that deep dark hole, not themselves.
yeah. And
Just
fight for
to,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know, I don't know that I have advice. I'm thinking about being able to hear those words. I do want to say that when I couldn't talk to anybody, and when, even in therapy between sessions and stuff, I did utilize the hotlines and the crisis text line. And
Awesome.
just I vented online like crazy. We all see that, we've all seen that. And, sometimes that's really necessary, and
Yes.
not to feel like ashamed that you can't do that, because it's helpful.
Yeah.
Writing
Oh
things
yeah.
out was very helpful for me.
Yes.
Um, Man, I've had pages and pages and pages, online, and just, writing it out till my fingers were raw and numb.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but just it helps to get it out of you.
It does. It does, because it seems like when you can lay it out somewhere and you're not just trying to hold it. I always had this picture in my mind of myself, especially when my wife was in the midst of her relapse. And I mean, a fresh year going into my second year of recovery, really trying to figure all this out. And I was trying to run a home. I was trying to keep a roof over my son's head. I was trying to, be a parent to my son. And I was actually trying to keep him from seeing his mom in this state as well. And I always pictured myself as that, that guy that has those sticks and he has those plates up there and he's
Hmm.
balancing those plates everywhere.
Right,
And
right.
you think you're doing a really, really good job, like you're like, yeah, I'm sure I got this.
Right.
And it only took just like one hair of a push or just the wind to blow a little bit and they would just all crash down. And, you know, in that time, I was so desperate to make this thing work. And I guess that's a great message for people is, you know, keep fighting for yourself, even if you don't feel like you are worth it or you're going to make it. Keep fighting for yourself because I it reminds me, and I'm not religious or anything, but there is this thing in the Bible where he held on to an angel by the leg and said, I'm not letting you go until you bless me. And that was how I was for recovery. I would grab a hold of my counselors, every resource that I could find available to me, and I would hold on. I'm like, I'm not letting go until somebody helps me because and Jessica and I talked about this last night. Sometimes the best place in the world to be is your absolute bottom
Yeah.
because you get to that place of surrender, like I'll do whatever. And my whole plan when I went into treatment was anything y'all tell me to do, I'm just going to do. Even though I'm going to bitch about it and vent about it, I'm going to do it because I'm trusting that y'all know what's best for me. And anything I think to do, I'm going to do the exact opposite because that's
Because
what
that
we got
hasn't
to do
worked.
right now. That has not worked
Right.
one bit. And
Right.
I can say that, tomorrow I celebrate those 8 years. And though I have had some clean time in the past, I have never felt the way I feel now. I never embraced healing. I tried to embrace systems. I tried to embrace, because I always talked to counselors, but I didn't really embrace that healing was possible. And I
Yeah.
think, and I think this is a great place for us to go, is my belief systems were so focused on the fact that I was an addict, that I was better off in this world. I was more of an asset dead than I was alive, so that they could study my brain and my body and what was wrong with me. And I just felt like I was a mistake all the way around. And how much do our internal deep belief systems play into our being down in that place and coming out and rising out of that?
I think that once you, first of all, congratulations on the 8 years.
Thank you,
Um,
thank you, thank
it's so
you.
amazing. every
Thank you.
day is amazing. I mean, we see
Phew,
people that
not a
say
joke.
two
That's so
days. It's
true.
like, yay.
I know
So,
it is. It
but
is.
I definitely think that being so far down low where you definitely feel like I'm not doing anybody any good, even myself. You don't want to be here, you know. Just everybody's going to be better off without you. You know that when you're that low, you have nothing to lose. So it's kind of
Mm,
almost a good place to be. It's such a good stepping stone. It's such a good catalyst to then what have I got to lose, and
that's right.
because I can't get any lower,
That's
it
right.
can't get any worse from here. So I can only just recently even say that I'm grateful. Believe it or not, I'm
I
grateful. I
know.
can't even believe I'm saying it, but I'm
I know what you're
grateful
gonna
for
say. I
yeah,
know
those
it.
those terrible times because
I know.
it's empowered me within myself to know, wow, I made it. I made it. I'm
Yes.
doing so well now. It's like this is
I
the
know.
best of my life has ever been, and
Yes.
it wouldn't and I'm a better hypnotherapist. I was a better nurse even though I'm not really doing that as much anymore. But I'm better at what I do because of where I've been. And it
Absolutely.
was 11 years ago I had first started in hypnotherapy, and I thought, and I was so upset that I didn't really get to continue down that road. But I see now that now is the right time. That was not the
Mm,
right time. I had to
yes.
go through so much more, even though at that point I had already been through a whole heck of a lot, but I have not
Right.
been to that lowest point that I was since that
Yeah.
time. So it really is a
Yes.
great catalyst, that and a great, self-empowering place to be so low, and then even to get that glimpse of that light, like I
Yeah.
said in the office there where I said, oh my gosh, I was starting to connect the dots, um, wow, I maybe I am going to be better, maybe I don't have to live the rest of my life,
Yes.
like
Mm,
that. So that, just having been that low to feel that tiny spark begin,
yeah.
even, and then just watch it grow. It's just amazing. And it's
It is
so
amazing.
empowering.
It
And I want
is.
everybody to
It
feel that.
is. I know, and I feel it. Like I really
Yeah.
feel it when you say it. I feel it because I also feel that exact way, and I believe that one of the benefits of us saying that, because I think that if there are just some small, for me in the beginning, there were just some small rephrases, just some small reframing that I did in my life, in my speech, in the way I was talking to myself.
Hmm.
There was some reframing that I did that really changed the game for me. That moment where I stopped asking myself why me, and I started just getting into a place of acceptance, and I this was my moment of clarity, my ding 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 moment. It was that instant where, because I was a person that never could let go of being in the past. I could not grasp why I had to go through the victimization, which many of us do when we start being victimized very young. We grow up in that victimized mindset because we don't have another choice. It's not like we're presented with anything else. So it's not a fault of ours that we live in this place. We don't know what we don't know.
Right.
But it was in the moment, and just like you, I can remember where I was sitting. I can remember the kind of day where I realized that every day that I got up and I let these memories and these people steal my joy from me, steal my life, they were winning. Like
Hmm.
I had already been through the happening. But when I started learning that the brain didn't know the difference of happening 20 years ago or happening right now when it comes here, that was when I put it together and I really realized, holy crap, like they're still winning.
Right.
And why should they get
Still
to
traumatizing me. It's
it
still happening.
every
Yeah.
day?
Every time I
Every
think about it,
day.
every time I get a trigger, every time I have a nightmare,
Every day.
it's still happening as if it was
Every day.
the same physical thing going on. It's still happening
Every
in my
day.
brain.
And I really started in those in that moment. See, I think and a lot of people need to really, really hear this because change can happen for you in a moment. There
Yes.
is you can try after something and try after something and try after something, but when you get that one flip, that one
Mhm.
mind that it just dings and connects,
Mm.
healing can happen right there, and your life can be different in that area from that moment forward. And
Yeah.
that's how it happens for me a lot. It's like, oh gosh, okay, I'm
That
good.
ding ding. Yeah.
Yes,
That light bulb.
exactly. And that was really, really, really it. Where yes, Tammy said it right, that people were living rent free in my head, like they
Mhm.
were really renting that space,
Staying
and I was
there. Yeah.
allowing it. Yeah, and then we get that powerful moment of knowing that we have a choice. Like I don't have a choice that it happened, but I
Right.
got the power and the choice to make sure it doesn't happen day in and day out.
Right. Right.
And tell us tell us about hypnotherapy and really kind of what the basis of that is, and how it helps us with some of these processes.
Well, in hypnotherapy, first of all, I want to say quickly what it's not. It's not what
Oh,
you've seen
good.
on stage shows.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a
that's,
chicken.
hypnosis, kind of, magic, some, trickery. It's not what you've seen in the movies where people don't get possessed, or it's not mind control where the therapist makes you do things that you don't remember, or, we don't implant things in your mind that, give
So
you,
glad you say that.
yeah, to make you
So
think
glad you say
different things about yourself that aren't true.
right.
So it's really finding your own truth. It's really it when people come, well, let me start here. So we put the physical body and the conscious mind, we just quiet it, relax it, and then the subconscious mind can listen,
Mm,
can focus on the desired intention, whether it's losing weight, quitting smoking, or just getting unstuck from deeper childhood trauma or anything in between there. Um, we can release things so that they can be healed. And oftentimes, this is what's so amazing about hypnotherapy. Some people have told their story over and over and over, or they don't remember things. I did not remember a lot of things when I first went to therapy, and
my
I couldn't
sister's
even
like that.
talk about it. I didn't even know
Yeah.
a lot of what had happened to me. And I wasn't getting hypnotherapy, I was getting EMDR. But they just don't know what to say. They're numb. They just,
Mm,
you know, are, and they don't have to tell me their story if they don't want to. They don't have to tell me anything. We still can go in there and ask the subconscious to release
beautiful.
these things, and then be able to tell the subconscious to balance everything and to remove any, toxicity, and to bring clarity into their life, if that's what it is. I feel like I'm babbling here a little bit, but
No,
it's
no,
it's
no,
kind of
you're
hard to explain
perfect.
almost, but
No,
you know,
you're doing perfect. Perfect.
it works a little differently. Than we can go into the subconscious and give it suggestions for the desired intention, or just to bring clarity into their life, to bring balance into their life, so they can be focused and aware, and to even look in at themselves, to bring, to look deeper. Like, I have one technique that I use where you go into a mirror, and they go deeper in the mirror, and even deeper and deeper in their eyes, and then past your eyes. And what do you see? And then we ask for clarity,
Mm,
to be able to see inside of yourself. And they sometimes come out and they tell me, they talk for a half an hour or an hour after about everything they saw. And some people are like, okay, that was great, thanks, bye. You know? And that's fine, whatever works for them. And a lot of times with hypnotherapy too, in the session, they feel like, oh, I was so relaxed. I don't, they might not remember what you said, but
Mhm.
then during, they just feel relaxed and they feel better. And then between sessions is when, a lot of times that's where things happen and the subconscious starts to process what happened in the session. And then at the
Yes.
next session, they'll say, oh, I realized that I reacted differently. I responded differently to something that I would have had, a more anxious response to. I would have taken more personal, or something that would have upset me or triggered me. It didn't. And I noticed that.
It's
And I think
amazing.
that was the hypnotherapy. I'm like, well, maybe.
I love it.
Yeah,
I actually use hypnotherapy every night as I go to sleep. I have
right.
the headband with the earbuds in, and I use that every night when I go to sleep because I have a chatterbox for a mind. So,
Hmm.
and especially in times of great, stressor and times, especially like this last 8 months of my life, I thought that I had quieted, I had learned to quiet my mind, my
Right.
conscious mind a while ago. But as your circumstances change and you get, because I look at everything as a growing moment, like everything
Hmm.
is for growth. If I'm if I'm intent on becoming the best version of me, that takes, a lot of different stages of growth, and giving those things that purpose really make them a bit easier to go through. But I, in these last 8 months where my stability has been very greatly shaken, um I have really really utilized the as much hypnotherapy as I can, and I have found really just great benefits from that, and especially in that retraining of that subconscious, because
Right.
again, we've talked about this, the subconscious is driving 95% of our daily life, and those things were absolutely built, those structures were built, between the ages of 0 and 7. So, you know, it's our engine, we look at the car and we see the outside, and that's that conscious mind. But the
Right.
engine that's driving the car is very
Subconscious.
programmed
Yeah.
and subconscious. And I always use the driving,
Yeah.
as an example, how we can drive with our knee and do things completely unsafe and get it figured out. And I always think that that's the fast track in a lot of ways. When you can get past that conscious mind and you can
Yeah.
get through to the subconscious, it really kind of fast tracks that healing. It just gives you an extra edge. And I love that. I love that you have now come into my reality, because we can talk about manifestation all day, because
Right.
I sent that out there because I
Yeah.
wanted to have a live session. I have bought sessions, online through some of our, the
Right.
big gurus. I've bought those sessions. I've done all this stuff, but I thought, how awesome would it be to have something that was really geared to me? Because YouTube
Yeah.
has a bunch of everything, but you
Right.
know, I,
Right.
I'm just so grateful that you're here. This could be, I think this I hope this will be a new tool that is greatly utilized in the recovery process,
Yeah.
because my mission is to help reduce the suffering. That's why I bring people like you on, and Rita with the NLP, and Tiffany with the counseling, is let's fast track that healing process. Let's take some of the suffering out of it.
Well, that's
Grateful.
something I'd like to talk about too, is that a lot of times
Please.
people are already seeing another therapist and they love their therapist and it's going great for them, but they're just a little stuck. There's something that they're not quite able to release or remember, or they just feel it's stuck is a really good word because
Yes, it
it's
is.
something within them or like a knot constantly in their stomach, or they
Yep.
can't quiet that mind. And that's where hypnotherapy can come in. And a lot of times it's not it's something that's good complementary, something in, not in not as a substitute, or not, instead of, but
Right.
more,
With.
together with. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Build a program. That's the
Yeah.
epitome of recover your way, and recovery
Right.
absolutely on this platform does not just mean substance. It is,
Right.
recovery from recover to yourself,
Whatever has you
recovery
down.
everything, anything and everything that
Yeah.
has you down. And do you find, I'll use myself an example, and I'd like to hear your take on this. Do you find that a lot of people like myself, I get really hard on myself when I'm doing all the things and there's that still that invisible block, what feels like a block, what makes me feel like I'm stuck. And my, I guess, default programming is to go back and say, okay, I'm not doing enough. So I'm going to write more and I'm going to study more. And pretty soon you get like this overload of knowledge, but you're not really having the wisdom.
Right.
And
Right.
do you find, and maybe people relate to that because that block is going to be that subconscious, that belief system that maybe we're not aware of, right?
Right, and that's the thing, like you had mentioned that, everything from your early childhood is stored deep within your subconscious. And it could even be something as simple as it doesn't have to be trauma in your past. It
Right.
can be something as simple as something that somebody said to you that you didn't really quite take the right way or you didn't understand as a child, and it just stuck with you and it made you feel a certain way that has stayed with you throughout your life and has kept you held back. A personal example of that is, now I did remember it, but I didn't realize how much of an example it, how much of a how much it stayed with me throughout my life. But I had a sister that was killed in a car accident, and I was just almost 14. And my mother's friend said to me, "Now don't you cry, don't you cry, you have to be strong for your mother, don't you cry." And that really, I have trouble expressing my emotions today, even though
Mm,
I fully understand where that came from. But that's something, I wasn't a young child at that moment. I was a
yeah.
young teen, but something like that, or even, say a mother that's constantly putting herself down, talking about her weight, or she's not pretty enough, or not this or that enough of whatever it is. Um, that can stay with, then the little girl might think the same of her,
Mm,
and not know later on that that's why she has, self-esteem issues. It's just
absolutely.
things that are buried deep within there. And whether they even know it or not, we can ask the subconscious to release any blocks and obstacles relating to confidence, relating to, whatever it is. And
Mm.
and it's amazing it works.
It
So,
is so amazing. It intrigues me to no end just to really start to learn about that part of ourselves since it's not, I love that it's becoming common knowledge, but,
mhm,
for the longest time, it's not common knowledge. And we're still having to really kind of knock hard on the doors of people to really understand and to break down that old program and paradigm of the way we think about life and what equals what. And I love where we're going in this, humanity. I just love that we're
yeah,
becoming more conscious beings. And people probably think I'm crazy right now because of what's happening in the world. That, don't ask me because I don't watch a lot of it. But you know but it's always darkest before the dawn. And for systems to be torn down, thus is our life and our recovery. That's why things kind of get real darkest before our breakthrough comes through,
right.
because in tearing down those old
Yeah,
systems, you know I work in structure, and when structures are damaged, we have to tear them down, and they don't look
right.
pretty whenever we're tearing them down, but we can put them back together and make them look better than they ever have with
Yeah.
that solid foundation. And I think us talking about this is allowing people to understand that you're not bad because
Mhm.
you don't get it. You're doing the best you can. So,
Yeah.
lay off a little bit. I've had to really utilize that tool of being kinder to myself.
Mhm.
Um,
We're
that
only human.
we absolutely, and it's hard sometimes to remind ourselves of that and really get it. We will be so compassionate and caring for anyone, a stranger in our lives,
Right.
but when it comes to us, we expect more. You're not doing enough. You got to do
Yeah.
more. And it
There's
gets
no
to
such
be a
thing as
hard cycle.
perfect, and people are
Never.
continuously, you're always growing and evolving and learning. Even if, the best minds, they continue to grow and learn and evolve. That's what being human is. You learn through your experiences, and all those experiences aren't always the best experiences. But I
So
think
true.
that's one way to think of things that's very helpful is rather than just getting stuck in that anger or that depression or um, or self-deprecating thoughts, is to think of why is this happening,
Yeah.
what am I learning from this, or what did I
Yes.
do that, where is this coming from,
Yes.
is this a result of, am I triggered from something from before, to just try to step back from it a little bit rather than, just an automatic emotional response, but to step back a little bit and
Yes.
say, where is this coming from? That's interesting. That my
Yes.
response to that is interesting.
Oh, I love
Even
that word. Yes. Interesting. That's a great word. That's a great reframing word, that this is
yeah,
interesting versus,
like wow,
some
where did that
negative
come
word.
from? Let me
Exactly.
examine that a little bit.
I
Like
love
like
that.
even a song, I'll hear a song today, in the rate and on the radio, I'll hear a song and it'll start to get me emotional. Like, wow, that's surprising. Where did that come
Absolutely.
from, So
Absolutely.
you still, even if you've been, you're not ever always healed. You're not ever completely healed, I guess is the word. You're not ever completely, you're not perfect. You're always learning. There's always going to be something.
Yes.
And life happens, like you said, things are happening in your life now. And, even if you are fully, you've been through recovery and, you just, anything that, you've been in that down space and everything is looking so much greater, you're still going to have something that comes up every day,
The law of polarity. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
the law of polarity. We run by, law. Everything is in order. And for every,
Yeah.
there's always an opposite, and things have to even out. I like the way Abraham or Esther Hicks puts it. You can never get it wrong, and you can never get it done, because there's
Right.
not an end spot until this life is over in
Right.
this capacity. That until then we will always be evolving and growing. I mean,
Mhm.
it's evident in the things that we like. We want a new car, and then we get the new car, and then within a month it looks like a trash can, or you treat it like the last car. And it's because we're always, that's the way we're humanly built, is to have new desires and new wants.
And it's like a shower too, oh, I showered yesterday, I'm clean now.
Oh, I love
You
it.
still have to shower
Oh,
the
that's
next day.
good. That's good. I love that. That's good. I
It's
love
just,
little nuggets.
yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And I love that. I really love that you're here sharing this, and I know that this could just really, somebody's guessing my accent, so I got a North Carolina accent. So you're right, you guessed it. You guessed it.
I don't see any of the comments, so I don't know who's
You don't see any of them? They're
no,
over. Can you there's a comments button over to your right. If you touch that are you on a laptop?
I am.
See if you can see them. Touch that comments button and see if they come up. No?
I don't see a comments button.
Should be top right.
It says, oh, okay, yeah. There they are.
Hey, now we got them.
Okay,
Now we
yeah.
got them. It is Chip.
Oh, that's so funny. Looking
I
at them
often
now. I
see
didn't
them,
even
but yeah, I'll get kind of distracted, so I have to look every now and then, or I will
goodness.
lose my place. That's another one
Yeah.
of those subconscious beliefs that we talked about last night, where I've always thought, I've got there was that one diagnosis when I was young of, of ADHD, and from that moment, it's like, you just grab a hold of that, and that one thing becomes this thing that you just pattern
Yeah.
your life out of, and it can be broken.
Right.
But unless you come to a place of awareness or realize, oh well, I believe that because when I was in middle school they told me this, and
Hmm.
I've just built my world around it. And we forget those things, but yet we're still
Yeah.
operating from those
And that's
from
something I'd
those.
like to talk about too, is people so often label themselves that, you know,
Mm,
my depression, my anxiety, my this or that, and they label themselves to where it's like their arm.
yes,
It's a part of them, whereas that kind of makes it seem like I don't know who I am without it. I wouldn't be me
absolutely.
without it. And
And you
that kind
don't.
of and that keeps you kind of stuck in there because
It
you've
does.
taken that label on as, like I've heard you say, and it's so true, that I am statement. If you could say, that I have, or I have
Yes.
had, or I'm feeling depressed,
Yes.
and
Yes.
because you have a diagnosis doesn't mean that's a life sentence. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it can be, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But, if you take that on as a part of your being, then it probably will be there forever. But, then you get stuck in that mindset of, I'll never not be
Yes.
depressed. Yeah.
I was
Or
just fixing to
whatever
ask
else.
you about that. Do you feel like, and I know how I feel about this, and it's probably the same. Well, and that's a part of the, when we come from active addiction and we're in the recovery process, that is a very hard time in that process of leaving that addict,
Yeah.
label and all that goes around with that, because there's this time, and I call it, oh, I forget what I call it, but there's like this moment of darkness. There's like this moment where you don't know who you are. You're far enough away from the old you, but yet you're not quite associated with the new you. So you're somewhere in the middle, and it can cause you great distress because you are,
Yeah.
well, who am I? Who am I? Who
Right.
am I? And I wonder why, and I'm interested in your opinion. Why do we build so much security on those labels? Why is it that we feel like a label has to be who we are?
It's just a basic fear of the unknown. This is all
Mm,
I've known. And it's just a very basic fear of where, just, something that's detrimental to me, or something that has been so terrible in my lifetime. At least I know that it's familiar, but then
yeah,
I don't know what that is. I don't know if I
yeah,
can do that, if I can be that. It's almost the fear
yeah,
of be healing, really. I mean, it's the fear
yeah.
of success, the same as, the fear of healing. It's there, it's in there, whether
Oh,
people
yeah,
want to, people recognize that or not, it is in there. And
absolutely.
even smokers, or somebody that's overweight trying to lose weight. It's like, well, who am I if I'm not this person that smokes, if I'm not
Yeah,
this, overweight person, or, and then that's with addiction too. Who am I if I'm not
right.
craving this,
Yes,
if I'm not, once you start to come out of that, like you said, you're in that in between place of, you don't really have those cravings, but I don't know what to do now.
right, right. I
So,
don't want to be alone. I'm going to have to
yeah.
leave these people, and we make these trauma bonds, especially, and we do this not even just in active addiction. We do this in our regular life. We make these trauma
Mhm.
bonds with people, and we feel like, no, those are my real MFers. Like these are real people, and I can't leave my real people.
Right.
But that's not really the honest truth. Like they it's like that whole birds of a feather, we kind of flock
Right.
together, and then one of those wounded birds starts to get better. you know
Right.
a lot of times they push you out
Mhm.
of that nest, and it's very hard to know where you belong, and that's a very scary
Yeah.
place for people
And
to
it can be
be that are
lonely for
in that new.
people.
It's very
Nobody
lonely.
nobody likes to be alone, and I think
We
that's,
don't.
part of what causes a lot of relapse is just,
It
where are my
absolutely is.
friends? Where are my,
Yes.
if the family has already rejected you, or they
Yep.
don't trust you anymore, and they're just kind of standing back, on
Yes.
guard a little bit, because by the time somebody gets to that point, that's a lot of times where the family is. And
Absolutely.
so they don't know where they are, and it just is like I don't know what to do. I don't have any fun anymore. I don't have any friends anymore. I don't have any support anymore. Even I think even people that are in addiction and um, as the I think I lost my thought. As they're in the addiction, even if they don't want to be, even if they're not having those cravings, they sometimes reconnect
Yeah,
with those people because they're
absolutely.
so lonely,
Because you're
they're
lonely.
so
Yeah.
lost.
Yes. Yes.
It's
I when my Yeah, it is really hard. It's a really hard process because the one of the fuels of my addiction. I had many: the trauma, the dysphoria, the body dysphoria, the
Mhm.
no hope. All of that was a lot of fuels to mine. And one of my biggest fuels was I didn't like to be alone, because when I got alone with me, my mind, I could not stop reliving
Oh
my
God, yeah,
pain. And when I came into recovery, my wife was in her relapse. It was like there was this time where my higher power and my larger plan said, okay, it's time for you to learn how to be by yourself, and here's how we're going to do it. I had to create some boundaries between my wife and I, because I couldn't go back, but
yeah,
we were still there in the same house. I had a falling out with my best friend, who was kind of in the middle of us, a friend as a we were a couple with one best friend, and she was
right,
very torn. So I had a falling out
yeah,
with her. It was like all at once. It was like, okay, you're ready for this, I promise you, but I'm ripping the training wheels off
yeah,
of your alone bike. And I had done about almost 2 years worth of real deep inner trauma work. But I just remember in that moment feeling so dark. And it
right,
was when I had to really utilize the tools of remembering why I was in this recovery thing, getting remembering to hold on to a hope of who I was going to come out, because I was determined to know who I was.
yeah,
And up till that point I didn't. And I look back now, like we talked about earlier, I look back now and I'm so grateful for that time.
mhm,
So grateful for that time, because
yeah,
I don't know how COVID would have been if I had not gotten to go through that and gotten to experience that and build that strength.
yeah,
That's a very, very tough place to be. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a very tough place to be for people.
yeah.
It's a lot's happened right now. It's a lot's happened right now. Pam, tell us. So I read your email, and you are willing to give this Recovery Soul Food audience quite a gift from Breakthrough. And I want to make sure that we talk about, I know that you don't care to, but I'm forcing you to. I want you to tell people where they can find you, how they can get hooked up with you and your services, because we need you. We need you. We need to know.
Well, my website is hypnobreakthrough.com. And on that website has all my social media on that first homepage. Um, my email is Pamela at hypnobreakthrough.com. And I did have a offer, and I don't know, I don't see the clock in front of me. Are we ready for me to give my surprise offer?
Yes, give your surprise offer. We're down to like 6 minutes, and I want to
Okay.
make sure that we spend that letting people know, because I think it's a first. Let me say what a beautiful gift, and thank you for doing that for this audience. They're beautiful people.
Absolutely.
So let us
Um,
have it.
so anybody that contacts me will and they mention recovery soul food, you will get a full free phone session after the consultation is always free for everybody, and there's always a sample little session in there, just a short session, so you can see how it feels for yourself. Um, but then if you contact me and you would like to try hypnotherapy, you've got nothing to lose, because you'll not only get the sample session, but then you'll get a full
Man,
regular phone session for free.
Oh, that's good stuff. Good stuff.
And
Guys,
it's
make
not
sure that you get in
not
touch
just the
with her.
live people, if whenever they watch this, and then they can come
Awesome.
back, and if they contact me and say, "Hey, I saw that you're giving a free one for, Recovery Soul Food." Then I
Awesome.
will honor that absolutely.
That's such an amazing gift. And thank you so much for giving your time like that, because we have an awesome, and thank you, Tiffany and Mary, for putting that in the Facebook chat, putting Pam's stuff in the Facebook chat,
Oh,
because I think that it's absolutely, and I've got your follow in the description too, so you guys can go back in the
okay.
description of there if y'all missed the live comments. But
I'll have to go
thank you,
back and look at
Mary.
them myself.
It that is such a wonderful offer, and I just feel my heart just swells with gratitude. I mean, I'm not, I hate to even express this, but I mean, I could really, like, I just feel so overwhelmed with gratitude, because I can't tell you how many times that in my darkest moments, and really studying this, that I would just have prayed for something like that, like just longed for something like that, because I didn't, number one, know how to invest in me. So I didn't know
Right,
how, at a certain time, I didn't know how to pay for things that were going to help me. I knew
right,
how to buy cigarettes and buy other things, but I didn't know how to invest in myself and my health.
right.
And I think you given a session like that really, really, really could open up that heart space for somebody to really
Yeah,
feel that, because even if you're questionable about hypnosis and if it's going to work, just the quieting of your mind
right.
and being in that relaxed state really does a lot of rejuvenation for the body,
Yeah.
because we don't get like that very much.
And I can't guarantee anything, but one thing I can guarantee is it will reduce some stress. At the very least, it will reduce some stress. And
Mary Huffman. Mary Huffman is raising, she lost her daughter to overdose, and she is raising her grandchildren, and she does a lot of advocacy and stuff in the
yeah,
community. And she is a person that, I could just really see deserve something like that for
yeah,
herself, where she, really gets to that place of calming herself. And so I really, really, really want you guys to take Pamela up on this offer. This is an offer that you may never come across again. And it's just a dream come true for me, because there's just been so many times when I would wish for something like that. And I think that's amazing that you're willing to give, because it's not easy for you to do all
I
the
love
time as
doing it
well.
though.
Do you really? That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But I
That's
have
awesome.
also been in that place that you were at where, you were making all the phone calls and you couldn't get what you needed. I was driving around. It took everything I could bring to myself to just get ready and go to these places. And I went this place, I got a no. I went this place, I had to sit and wait, and I couldn't do it. It was just too anxious. And then I went to another place and I had to fill out forms that I just was so stuck in my head and so lost within myself. I couldn't even fill out the forms correctly. And, um, I couldn't get any help. And it was just so, I was crying in my car so many times, and just feeling so hopeless and helpless, and that there is no help out there. So, it's all by phone, and there's testimonials on my website, and most of those are from phone sessions. So it works just as well. And if you have
Wow.
pets, they usually love it too,
Oh, I
believe it
got
or
one
not.
for you. I got one for you that needs some help. I'm telling you, this girl needs something. My mom had asked me about that, because I was telling my mom about you yesterday when we were working, and she kind of perked up a little bit, and she was like, "Well, how does that work? Where's she located?" And I said, "Well, Mom, she's way across, the country." But you can do it by phone. And, she
Yeah.
kind of popped up. It was really, I know that she's very interested in quitting smoking. And as I hope we've talked about here tonight, and what I hope we've left people with about hypnotherapy and about, the subconscious mind, is that even though you consciously try and stab at a problem, there's probably a deeper belief system within you
Right.
somewhere that you cannot get to or see. And when you try to quit smoking and you listen to a lot of the gurus that say, you just got to do it, that, and it doesn't work for you, don't think that you are the one that has the defect. Just
Right.
realize that there's probably a program somewhere in you
Something
running
deeper.
something
Mhm.
else.
Yeah.
Yes. And why not try something? I promise you won't cluck like a chicken, and
Right.
Pamela's not gonna, be able to snap her fingers somewhere over the
Right.
phone and you turn into some kind of zombie. It's not gonna happen. Whatever the if you think that you'll get nothing out of it, at least you're gonna get this great relaxing, because I tell you, it's been a godsend for me. So many of my I do my affirmations at night. I run my hypnotherapy. Right after that, I play my affirmations all through the night, and I think that's where they're actually getting in once I open and let them get in, and I can just tell the difference.
And
Just
we
tell
have
the
to
difference.
do, you have to make the time because you are so busy. We have to make the
I
time for you to get
really,
a session, even if it's by phone. It's
I do.
definitely going to be more personal than just, you know,
Oh yeah.
just
I'm gonna be the test. I'm gonna be the testimonial. I'm gonna come back.
okay.
I'm gonna let Pamela hypnotize me, and then I'm gonna come back, and y'all will see that I, am just better, stronger, less stressed. I'm more sleeping better. I mean, it's absolutely going to be amazing. And I will tell the world about breakthrough hypnotherapy and
Thank
Pamela
you.
Topjian. I will tell them already, because I think that you're amazing. And I'm really grateful that Tiffany, really combined us. And she has such a great judge of character, especially when she makes a connection with someone. It's like she can judge our characters and how we
Yeah.
will, you know, combine. And I'm really, really grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful to be connected to you. I
I
mean,
absolutely feel the same. Absolutely. There are
what a
no
gift.
accidents, and we were meant to cross paths, and Tiffany saw that.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. She's a little manifester. She just doesn't even know it yet. She
She
just
doesn't
doesn't
know
know it.
it.
And thank you for all the new people that you've brought to Recovery
Yay!
Soul Food, and all
I
the
have to
all
look
the
through.
great new folks.
It was
But
probably better that I didn't see him through most of it.
go through and read them all, because
Yeah.
there's been some beautiful things said here today. There's just been some amazing. You've got some amazing fans already, so that speaks volumes to me and everyone here. So, everyone, thank you for being here with us tonight. Thank you, Soul Family, for welcoming our new soul sister Pamela Topjian into this beautiful family. I'm grateful that you are a part of mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
H. Sharvat. See, I'm from North Carolina, so I get to butcher that last name. I'm sure I'm not saying it right, but I'm great. Thank you for saying that. I'm so, so honored. I'm honored for everybody to be here, especially you, Pamela. It's just been a great, great, great time. We got to do it again.
We have to do it
Um,
again. There's so much we didn't touch on.
there's way too much we didn't touch. There's way too much we
But
didn't
that's
touch.
awesome.
Maybe
I'm
it's.
so honored.
I'm gonna have to start running these things where they're just like a 6 hour marathon, because I think that we could probably fill up quite a few of those hours just with all of this information and your genius. So thank you, thank you, thank you once again.
Thank you.
It's been a
Thank you.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time. And so y'all join me Wednesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, right where you are, because I go live on all three of these platforms as well. If you aren't already, please go to the YouTube channel and be a subscriber. Turn on your bell notification so you get notified when we put up new videos. Next Saturday night, I will be here with someone awesome. I do not have my calendar in front of me, so I can't even tell you who it is. Bad host, bad host, bad host. Tiffany's dinging me right now. I just know it. But y'all just join us here because the recovery soul food just wants to nourish your amazing, beautiful, recovering soul with content that just makes you feel free, open, and excited about healing. There is hope, and you have more power than you believe. And just know that if I can live a happy life and I can celebrate 8 years and Pamela can come out of her childhood and live a life she loves and so many others, you can too. I would not lie to you. So everybody, we'll see you Wednesday morning. Thank you again, Pamela. It's been an amazing
Thank you.
time. I love you, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, everybody.